Good evening. My name is Jumoke Lafenwa, and I'm the managing partner for King Valley Limited. This is one of the things I enjoy doing, giving back to the community. And today is the 23rd edition of Power Session with Jumoke, where we randomly pick topics that are project management related, strategy related, to bring value to yourself as individual and to organizations. And today we've decided to look at PMBOK 8th edition. There's a lot of buzz going out there. People are wondering, concluding, panicking, especially for those that are preparing for PNP. And what I'll be presenting on is based on the table of content PMI released. So it's actually accessible to every member of PMI. I don't know whether you are aware, but if you're interested in downloading yours, let me know after the session and I will direct you on how to get that done. So today we are looking at PMBOK 8th edition, what is new and why it matters. So today's roadmap, very easy. We're going to explain PMBOK 8th edition, apply it in real delivery environments, tailor with maturity, and guide others with authority. But I would love to look into PMBOK 6 briefly, 7 briefly, and then 8. I know some of us on this call, we wrote our exam on 6th edition when PMP was only predictive. And some of us have not even seen or touched or download the PMBOK 7th edition. This is how it looks like. And I think for your library, you can get one from PMI Ghana. I think it's 650 or 600 for members and 650 for non-members. This is free advert for PMI Ghana. So by the end of this session, you will not only understand PMBOK 8th edition, you will be able to lead someone to answering questions on the PMBOK edition. This QR code is for you to please scan. It will give you access to my WhatsApp, and then you can send your first name, your last name, and PMI ID. Not your PMP ID, PMI ID. I want you to write the name in first name, Jumoke, last name, Lafenwa, PMI ID 1807308, because that is how we will fill the form to present to PMI for the PDU upload. Thank you very much for adhering. And I'll plead with you, send it tonight. If you all send it tonight, I will upload the PDU tonight. I will be uploading, let me change that. I'll be uploading the PDU tonight. So if you don't send it tonight, don't send it tomorrow. Okay? So the truth about PMBOK is that, PMBOK 8th edition is that it has not reinvented project management. It's not like it's bringing new, like totally new way of managing project. It has rather redefined project management's direction. And you see that for project management, we keep saying, listen to your stakeholders and deliver value according to what your stakeholders want and all that. And that is what PMI is doing. PMI is listening to organizations. They are listening to entrepreneurs. They are listening to business owners. And they are rebuilding, repackaging PMP in a way that it would help the earners deliver or help organization achieve their goals. So it is refinement. PMI stayed on modern path. It started with the 7th edition. The 7th edition, there was introduction of principles and performance domains. We are still on that, just that we've added and made it more robust based on feedback from the likes of you. So why has it evolved? AI and digital execution are redefining decisions, whether you like it or not. In fact, I find it very funny when people use AI to generate maybe presentation slides or answers, and they want to pretend as if they got it on themselves. Remember those days when they were introducing calculator, how the old generation felt our children will not be mentally sound anymore. They will not be able to do mentals. They will not, and some wanted to prove that as for them, they can use their mental. They will not use calculators. Are we not all using calculators now? I remember when automatic vehicles came. A certain gender said they will never drive automatic. Drive automatic. Automatic is for so gender. If the car, if you are going and your car got spots on the way, you can't even push it because it's automatic. Are we not all using automatic vehicles now? So please use AI And when you were using Google to search for things, you were not intimidated or felt low about yourself to let people know that you use Google. So why do you want people to feel you are not using AI? Whether you want to or you want to make people feel like you're using AI or not, AI has come to stay. And the earlier you use it to your advantage, the better. So PMBOK guide, it is coming because AI and digital execution are redefining decisions. And today's delivery landscape is complex. You can start projects, and by the time you realize things have changed, your assumptions, like I tell my students as well as organizations that I offer training to, that look, anytime you are giving an opportunity to make an estimation or make decision or write a report, always put a footnote stating your assumptions, what the report or your estimations are based on. And because the landscape is continuously complex, so we can't stay with the PMBOK 7th edition. Just as we didn't stay with the 6th edition, it evolved to 7th edition, and it has evolved to the 9th edition. Hybrid is real. It's not a buzzword. You can start, you start your project, you think it's predictive. As you go along, you realize that the portion or aspect of the project that has to be adaptively driven. And so for those who got their PMP certified before 2nd January 2021, hello, there is actually a course that PMI came up with that's HAPP, or so, Hybrid Adaptive Project Management. I've forgotten the full now, but it is to bridge between you that you had only predictive project management professional exam or exposure to adaptive. If you have not done that, please do it. Otherwise, your PMP is not the same as someone who has PMP now. It has changed, all right? And strategy and value are front seat. The reason why you execute projects is to help organizations achieve on their strategy as well as value. Gone are the days that project management was defined as application of knowledge, skills, techniques to project objectives, and that's it. After you deliver your output, you have to be mindful of the outcome. And the outcomes are the values that you got from the output. So what is the use of your outputs if your organization or stakeholders will not get value from it? And so thinking about the value, when you are collecting requirements for your predictive project, you are thinking about the value and you are infusing or including the value into the processes in executing and delivering the deliverables of the project. So you are mindful. That's why after you've delivered on the output, you think of manual, you think of post delivery training, and all that. So that is why we have, or these are some of the reasons why we have the PMBOK 8th edition. So the world changed, the playbook matured, we are managing volatility, strategy alignment, and tech-driven decisions daily. Some of us we want to pretend it is not so, but that's what distinguishes the result-driven individuals from the non-result-driven individuals. And so the guide had to evolve too. That's why we are here. Don't forget to scan this and send me your first name, last name, PMI ID if you are PDU worthy. That is, you have PMP certification, PMI certification, PMP, ACP, RMP, CP, all the PMI certification, so that we can assign your PDUs to you. So why are we having this session? Is it that I don't have anything to do? I just felt that, let me gather people and do some dancing. Why are we here? We are aware that curiosity is high. I am aware that curiosity is high. As a trainer, people are asking me about PMBOK and they are coming up with some weird assumptions, So the curiosity is high and assumptions are everywhere. And when there is not enough information, we, as humans, we usually draw the wrong conclusions. So misinformation is spreading fast. Professionals deserve clarity. And as one of the things that I do giving back to the community. I said, let me do this for my community here in Ghana and Nigeria, because I'm a member of 5 chapters. I don't know how many of you know that. I'm a member of PMI Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Angola, and Togo. So you may see people from these chapters on the call today. So everyone is talking. Not everyone knows. At least I know that. You are here to get facts, context, and leadership on this shift so that you also become a leader on this. When I was president of PMI, one of the things I drove that, don't come and tell me that someone wants to be a member of PMI Ghana. You should be able to know how to lead someone into becoming a member of PMI Ghana. And so you should also be able to explain what PMBOK8 edition is to anyone that comes across your way as a member of the community. Note, your current knowledge is not obsolete. It's like you know how to drive manual and you are given automatic car to drive. Your knowledge of knowing how to drive manual doesn't go to waste. You can say it's an added value, but you will not need it to drive automatic car. PMP is not changing overnight. I'm using this overnight carefully because I don't know how long it will take for PMI to overhaul PMP to suit the 8th edition, the PMBOK Guide 8th edition. What I know is that when exam changed, 2nd January 2021, previous year, 2020, PMI was talking about the PMBOK 7th edition had come out, and I was the president of PMI Ghana then. And for the life of me, I didn't know that PMP had changed, that it was not only based on PMBOK anymore, because up until the 6th edition, the entire PMP was based on PMBOK. I used PMBOK 4th edition. It was based on 4th edition. Then we moved to 5th edition. The PMP was based on the 5th edition. We moved to the 6th edition. PMP was based on the 6th edition. So 2nd January, when the exam changed, I was one of the people that was calling the PMI Africa judge, MD, that look, people are writing PMP and we don't have the PMBOK. And I was like, Jumoke, calm down. The PMP is not based. I said, how can it not be based on He told me, no. The PMP we have now is based on more than the PMBOK. And that is one of the challenges I have now. People just call you and say, is the PMP not based on the PMBOK 7th edition? And then I ask, why do you think it is based on the PMBOK 7th edition? Currently, PMP is based on the 7th edition, the 6th edition, and 9 additional books that I don't even have all. And so one of the advantages of me being ATP is that PMI has formulated training slides, which they give us, the instructor, that we use. So if you have your PMP training with a non-ATP, the person is likely going to, because the person has written PMP and by God's grace, the person has passed, feels that, what is this? Let me just teach the predictive on PMBOK 6th edition and then do a bit of agile. But what you are forgetting is that the exam is based on 3 areas: people, process, and business acumen. When you pick people, it's looking at people from the context of predictive, from the context of adaptive and hybrid. When you pick process, it's looking at a process from predictive perspective, from adaptive perspective, from hybrid perspective. If you pick business acumen, it's looking at it from all these 3 angles. So if you did your cost on predictive on lesson PMBOK 6th edition, and then you just read it generally, excuse me, you are likely not going to pass. People who know me know that I'm not graced with packaging things, I'm just telling you the truth. And the last exam I wrote at Total House, in fact, the one before the last, I was told that the number of people who write PMP and fail, they are more than 70%. And when they came out, they would say, this was not what we were taught, And so they were asking me, because they knew that I'm the immediate past president, who are those who authorizes people or organization to do training? And I said, no, it's not us. So it's PMI, or, because I thought they were coming to blame PMI Ghana. And they told me this. And so one of the reasons I started doing this is because I want to sensitize people. When you ask how much is training and we tell you the price and you go like, I got it somewhere 2,000. I don't beg people to do training with me because I know what I'm delivering. I allow people to go, they attempt, they fail, and they come back. And of course, I will still charge you. Okay, so it's important you know that PMP keeps evolving. So you need to know where you are and then do the gap and needs assessment and determine the gap. This is where I am. This is where PMP is. What do I need to move from where I am to where PMP is? And that is one of the reasons we are here today. So as long as I'm saying that PMP is not changing overnight, but I can tell you how soon it will change. Okay, so if you are doing your PMP training this year, Biko, write your exam this year. Don't say I'm writing next year. After all, they say PMBOK8ed edition will be released on 13th January. It's true to be released 13th January, at least from information that we have. But why not do it now? Today's November 30. You don't need more than 2 weeks to prepare for PMP. All right, so PMBOK8ed edition built on 7th edition. That's the beauty of it, okay? It's like continuity. Don't forget to scan if you want PDUs and send me your first name, last name, and your PMI ID. Not your PMP ID, please, PMI ID. So now let's, I said earlier when we started, I will look at PMBOK 6th edition briefly. So 6th edition, remember, the guide is always made up of this area, introduction, we'll talk about the project environment, role of a project manager, and then the knowledge areas, integration. That's how you start at scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communications, risk, procurement. This was what some of you did. If you use the 4th edition, 3rd edition, then the other stakeholders based on feedback. Then all these were looked they came up with processes under the standard for project management, initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, closing. And that was what we're doing, input, output, tools and techniques. So if you are doing your training from any time between January 2nd, 2021 and now, and what you are being taught is input, output, tools and techniques alone, is based on the 6th edition. Now, 7th edition, the standard for project management. So it is not only a guide to project management body of knowledge. We now have standard for project management included. You have introduction that will tell you why the change in the PMBOK and then the system of value delivery. What you do as a project manager or through project management is you want to deliver value. That's just it. And then there was introduction of principles that says you are a steward. You should be respectful, that you are leading team. You should receive feedback from your stakeholders and involve them. You should help your team members to focus on value. That systems thinking. When there is problem, don't treat it as an isolation. It's connected. So think of it like that. Leadership. That is where servant leadership comes in. Tailoring. Everything you will not do it for everything the same way. So you need to know what aspect you need to tailor. Quality, building quality into process. Giving enough time for people to do their job, giving them the right equipment, giving them the right information. That is one of the ways to build quality into process. And then complexity. Don't run away from complex situation. And risk, have a risk management culture. One of the reasons I did the specialized certification risk management professional was the report of PMI that said after COVID, organizations that did very well, they were the ones that had a culture of risk management in their system. And so they were robust. It's not now that they're thinking, hey, how do we get money? Because then they had management reserve. So when COVID came, they had reserve to fall back on. Some of us don't even have the culture of identifying, analyzing, coming up with response, and having a contingency reserve, talk less of management reserve. So I was like, no, this is something I need to understand better than I did in the PMP. Then adaptability and resiliency. This is for someone that is giving to continuous growth. You have the mindset to keep growing and learning. So you don't just settle. So you need to adapt to new situation. You need to be resilient. If you tried it once and you failed as a project manager, you don't give up. You just realize that, okay, this is not the way to do it. Let me try this other way. And change will occur whether you like it or not. Smart individuals and organizations are taking advantage of it. All right. and they are using it as a strategy. And now to the guide to the project management body of knowledge itself, you have 8 domains, performance domains. So you have the 12 principles, you have the domains, and these are the domains that we have in the 7th edition. I've said that some of you don't have it, at least for your library. Go and get one copy from PMI Ghana. If you are a member of PMI Ghana with valid membership subscription, is 600 cedis. If you are not a member, you can still buy. I think it's 650. If Manuela is on this call, or anyone from the leadership of PMI Ghana is on the call, and I got the price wrong, please type it in the chat section, okay? So these are the domains: stakeholder, team. If it is adaptive, you know that you don't tell them, you, Kweku, this is what you are going to do. John, this is what you are going to do. That's not what you do. They are self-organizing. When the team comes up with the work to deliver what they pick from the product backlog, they all are individually pick what they can do, and that's what we call self-organizing. But if it is predictive, the project manager will lead that process, and then you have the team charter. The team charter will have the roles and their corresponding responsibilities, and they will be assigned to individuals. So you need to understand. So when you are reading your question, for instance, as preparing for your PMP, you need to be able to situate the question quickly. Is it an adaptive setting? Is it a hybrid setting? Is it predictive setting? Because how you treat your team members are different based on the life cycle you are using. And of course, when you have identified your stakeholders, you have formed your team, you have created shared understanding, you will need to pick what project management life cycle or development approach you are going to use. And so you need to understand the different development approach and life cycle that we have. You need to understand tailoring. You need to understand models, method, and artifacts, planning. The way you plan predictive project is not the same way you plan adaptive projects. And project work itself, delivery, we have the single cadence, we have the multiple cadence. If it is predictive, you deliver at the end of the project. If it is adaptive, you deliver incrementally or iteratively. And then you need to measure your delivery and uncertainty. What is risk? Risk is an uncertain situation that may occur. This uncertainty may have positive and or negative. If it is positive, it's opportunity for the organization or for the project. If it is negative, then it's a threat. And so you have different strategies in handling them. Okay. So now let's look into details, the table of content for the PMBOK 7th edition. The standard for project management, like I said, introduction included or includes purpose of the standard itself, and then there are key terms and concepts. So if you are writing PMP, for instance, and you are with an ATP, they will give you glossary. The glossary would include the key terms, the concepts, phrases, that is peculiar to PMP. So I call it the dictionary of PMP to my students. And then in this same PMBOK 7th edition, you have a system for valid delivery. I said, when you are managing projects, what you are doing is to create value that fits into the strategic existence of your organization. That is why you must know what is the strategy of your organization and how the project you are managing fits into it. All right. And then organizational governance, how your project will be managed, your project environment, internal, external, the EFS, the OPS. And then you have the project management principles that says you be diligent, you are a steward, create a collaborative project team environment where you have to be responsible for creating a psychosocial environment where your team members are they are themselves. They are not apprehensive about making mistake. They know that you will not judge them. The experiences I've had so far when you do training for organizations is that most organizations, they have punitive measures for when the employees try something and they get it wrong, but they don't have reward system when they try something and they get it right. If you want to punish for getting something wrong, you should also appreciate or reward for getting things right. So we need to balance it. All right. So this, if you're interested in the slides, please, you can also ask and I'll share it with you. So these are the principles that I mentioned earlier. And then you have the guide part of the PMBOK 7th edition. And that is what focuses on the performance domains: stakeholder, performance, team, development approach. Oh, okay. I've exceeded 100 people, sorry. Yes, and so these are the domains. And then the PMBOK 7th edition highlighted the importance of tailoring. Tailoring. What is the process, and all that, and how to measure what aspect to tailor. And then also mention artifacts. Artifacts are documents that you create in the course of the project. And these are part of what you are supposed to keep and save for future projects. If you have a PMO in your organization, they will be responsible for that. And then when there are similar projects in the future, they can rely on it. I'm using the word rely carefully. It doesn't mean they have to reproduce the same thing. It serves as a starting point and they build on it. Remember, it's a continuous improvement that we are focused on. Now, the reason why you are here, table of content for PMBOK 8th edition. So we still have standard for project management, and there will be introduction. In the introduction, we'll talk about key terms and concepts, foundational elements of project management, and then you will talk about the system for value delivery. Like we know from the 7th edition, you are creating value as a project manager. We'll talk about the project environment, project management considerations, functions associated with projects, and project management roles. So, like I said, project management has evolved from just application of tools, techniques, and knowledge, to applying those things and also being mindful of the output. And it is the output that will deliver value. For instance, if your organization said, oh, we need intranets, the way we are different departments, and when something is created, we have to move physically to go and deliver. And so the IT department was asked to create this intranet, and it was commissioned. They collected scope from all the, they collected requirements from all the departments. And one day, the IT department said, "Bula, we are done. We have created it, and so we are going live." And we went live. But admin wanted to share something with marketing. It was unsuccessful. Marketing wanted to share something with the engineering department. It was unsuccessful. To IT, they had delivered on the scope of the project. But within the organization, the intended value is not achieved. So would you say IT has done what they are supposed to do? No. So delivering on your deliverable is no longer enough. It must serve the purpose. And that is what distinguishes you as a result-oriented project manager to the status quo that, oh, they said we should do it, we have done it. And when they are calling you to tell you, say, no, but this is not what you asked me to do. Have I not done it? You are more than that. You are a strategic person. All right. So the project management principles are still there. The project management mindset, principles and performance domains, adopt a holistic view. You are not just saying this is where I am, I'm not looking at anything else. It's like you must be aware of how your project intertwines into other aspects of the organization. Must focus on value, embed quality into processes. Like I said, when you from the onset, you build quality into the process of delivering what you are working on. It increases the chances of getting it right the first time, and you will avoid scrap or rework. When you are reworking, it means the thing is not up to the level it's supposed to be. So the time you're supposed to continue to work, you are not trying to correct. It's like when you ask your seamstress or your fashion designer to sew something for you, and you went for fitting, and the bust is too big, the waist is too small, the hips are too big, and then they are altering it. What they are doing is reworking. In a way, it means they can salvage it. But sometimes it is so bad, it cannot be salvaged. They cannot rework. It becomes scrap, and they have to, do the work all over. And when that happens, the time they are supposed to use to continue the work, they are spending it, is like they are going backwards. And if you are not careful, that could lead to time overrun and cost overrun. That's spending more time than you plan, spending more money than you plan. Okay, then be an accountable leader. When you're accountable, you don't give room for excuses. It's not only just performing, but you are committed to ensuring that value is delivered. So we will not be hearing, I did my best. There's nothing more I can do. If your best did not produce results, I'm a Christian, so if I want to quote scripture, I'll be referring to Bible. There's a scripture that says that when you fail during your adversary, your strength is small. There's no justification. And if you are running business, excuse me, sometimes people think management is insensitive, but they have to run business. They need to meet bottom line. If they have shareholders, dividends have to be paid. So you have to ensure that things are put in the right context, stretch yourself a bit, be forward looking to provide solution. And not because it rained, I couldn't do it, it rained, I couldn't do it, there was power outage, I couldn't do it because the other team member didn't give it to me, I couldn't do it because there was not enough money. Like, you have good reasons. I have an article on LinkedIn that says good reasons or excuses. Please go and read it. Most of what we give as good reasons are actually excuses. I know some people who have worked with me say she has come again because people say I drive hard. Yeah, because my mind is always focused on what needs to be done. Anyways, yeah, then integrate sustainability within all project areas. That is the new area now. And so PMBOK8 is taking it, how to be sustainable in what you deliver, and then build an empowered culture. And in the 8th edition, again, you are going to have the project life cycles. We'll be talking about phases. We'll be talking about development approaches, consideration for a development approach selection. What will inform you to decide whether it's going to be adaptive, whether it's going to be predictive. If you have a project that the scope is not well defined from beginning, you just know that, okay, I want to build a house, but you don't know what component. You cannot approach such projects predictively. Predictive is from the word predict. For you to predict, you have some information. Adaptive is from the word adapt. It's like you have a gallon of water and you have different shapes of bowl. You have an oval bowl. When you pour the water in the oval bowl, the water will take the shape of the oval. If you pour it in a circular bowl, it will take the shape of the circle. If you pour it in a rectangular bowl, it will take the shape of the rectangle. So adaptive is change driven. So that's why you have the product backlog. So the customer works with the product owner. They come up with the user stories. A user story is Jumoke is what is an account professional, and she wants an app she wants an app that can create or develop what is it called? Salary pay slip by 25th of every month. That's a user story. And that is put in the product backlog. And then based on the velocity of the team, they pick what they can work on from the product backlog, and then they break it down into work to get it done. And then they also have the iteration backlog, and they work within the iteration. At the end of the iteration, they deliver to the product owner. The product owner gives it to the customer. The customer gives feedback, and whatever feedback is given is uploaded on the product backlog. Then the product backlog is reprioritized, and then the team picks again and they work, and that's what they do for adaptive, which is different from predictive. Predictive, you know the scope, you plan it, you go to stakeholders, you collect requirements, you refine the requirements, then you now define the scope that the project is going to deliver this and it will not include this. So as you define the scope, you also include the out of scope elements for the project. And then you do your WBS. Then you come up with your work packages. You break your work packages down into activities. Then you have your activity list. And then based on the activity list, you create your network diagram. Then when you finish the network, you calculate all the duration of each of the path. And then you come up with your critical path. And then that tells you how long it will take to complete the project. You determine your float so that you can know which one will have lag, which one will have the lead, which task will have lag or lead. And then maybe you need to, okay, so when you also collect your requirements, you may have to prioritize them, if you're unable to deliver all. And that is where the Moscow, the Kano, the 100 points, the PED comes in. You see, so predictive is plan, is structured. Can you allow change in predictive? Yes, but it's in a structured manner. It has to go through the project manager. The project manager will analyze it and pass it to the change control board. The change control board will now determine, based on the information, okay, we can add $200,000. It's okay, go ahead. We can give you 2 more months. All right, go ahead. Oh, no, we can't do that. And everything, you put it in the change log. If it is accepted, it's accepted. If it was rejected, it was rejected because of that. So the approach is different. It's different. Okay. So the life cycle and what will inform you is if at the beginning the scope is clear, then it's predictive. If at the beginning the stakeholders don't mind or they expect delivery at the end, then you use predictive. If the customer is not very sure, but they want value early and in a continuous manner, you can't use predictive. You will use adaptive. Okay. And this is also part of what we have in the 8th edition, the project management performance domains, as we have it in the 7th edition. That's why we are saying that the 8th is not moving away from the 7th edition. It's rather building on the 7th edition. And if you had paid attention to your emails, PMI actually sent a sample of the PMBOK edition for you to make inputs. So if you were curious and you could have done it and you would have seen the content there. So we still have the performance domains, and of course, tailoring. What do you tailor? What determines what you tailor, and all that, and how to diagnose the portion that you need to tailor is in the 8th edition. And of course, we still have the models, methods. I know how to go about them. So I decided to include this, the big picture, comparing the 7th edition to the 8th edition. The PMBOK 7th edition, in summary, is principle-based. It value delivery focus. It focuses on delivering value. You tailor, so it's emphasized. It has performance domains, It has no prescriptive processes like the 48 processes you used to know. And I mean, people call me, they want to do PMP, and somebody gave them my contact, and they said, hello, my name is, can you run me through the PMP as it is now? And I run them through. It's only 6 lessons now. I run them through. I say, what about the 48 processes? Sometimes I'm tempted to say, then take it. If you knew what it is, why did you call? So we don't have those processes. So if you did your training, for you to write your exam, and you did your training and you are memorizing the 48 processes, and you are memorizing the input, output, tools, and techniques. Of course, we still do have tools and techniques now, but it's not like you used to know the inputs, the outputs, the tools and techniques. You should come for my exam prep. And then for the 8th edition, it reinforces PMBOK 7th edition. But now you know that we still have the principles, we still have the performance domains. It integrates modern delivery and systems thinking more explicitly. We have it a bit in the PMBOK 7th edition, but now it's more explicit in the 8th edition. It has clearer alignment to PMI standard suits. It has greater attention to AI. You can't run away from AI, the digital ecosystems and complexity. Even you, as you are here, as an individual, you're a complex being. Today you like this, tomorrow you don't like it, So can you imagine now the environment or the community where we are operating? It provides better clarity for practitioners seeking actionable guidance. actionable guidance. So 7th edition was a paradigm shift into principles, because prior 7th edition, we didn't have principles. And the 8th edition is a refinement and reinforcement with clearer guidance and context. So I can put it this way. If the 7th edition aimed at delivering 100% of value to organization, the 8th edition is aiming at delivering 100+% to organization. Okay. So what is new and why you should care? Stronger link principles and practical execution. More maturity around agile hybrid thinking, because agile or adaptive has come to stay. Increased focus on value delivery. Value delivery. If you're leading projects, if you are with your team, you are asking yourself as a project manager, this thing that we are doing, what value will it bring to my team members? What value will it bring to the organization? How would it help to refine the process? Because you could have a process in place, 7 steps, but if it is refined, it can become 5 steps, and it would deliver better results than the 7. So we are thinking of value creation, Yeah. It's also focusing on complexity. It's focusing on change. It's focusing on uncertainty. Sometimes you are managing projects and you are telling people about uncertainty or risk, and people are saying, I mean, God forbid, why are you being negative? Why are you doing this? And then they turn it spiritual. Hello, I'm a spiritual being. I believe in spiritual. I'm a Christian. I speak in tongues. I believe in God factor. I also believe in planning projects and being risk-minded. It's okay. Plan risk. If it doesn't, okay, thank God. You can even do Thanksgiving. That's we planned, we thought it will happen, but it didn't happen. God came through. It's better that you planned and the risk didn't occur. Fine. But can you imagine if we didn't plan and risk occurred, then you will now be looking for workaround steps, and that can actually create other avoidable situations for you as a project manager. And modern project management skill expectations that the new PMBOK is bringing on, they are becoming strategy. You will become strategy-minded leadership, adaptability, business acumen, tech fluency. If you are on this call and you are a leader and you don't know your temperament, please go and find your temperament. I have a book, Why We Act the Way We Do. That was how I discovered my predominant temperament, and it's helping me. Don't let me say it has helped me, because I've not gotten there yet, but I'm better than I used to be, because I'm task-oriented. I'm not very good with the human aspect, the sanguine, the phlegmatic, I get the job done, but by the time I finish, people are angry. So now that I'm emotionally intelligent and I'm working on myself, which we should all do as leaders, it's not perfect, but it's better. So if you're interested in the book, you can also send me a message and I will send it to you, the soft copy. So part of the project management are skill expectations, adaptability, business acumen. You see that the exam, the PMP, 8% of it is business acumen. And I have seen that some people will pass the process, they will pass people and fail business acumen. It means they have they don't understand strategy, portfolio. They don't know how the project they are managing fits into the organization. They don't even understand that it's a form of value delivery. So you must pay attention to that. And then one of the project management skills that PMBOK8 would help you with is more emphasis on system level project governance and team capability. So it's like if you have let's say a fabric and you saw a thread and you decided to pull the thread instead of cutting it. By the time you realize, all the fabric may come off because they are intertwined. So as you pull, you'll be pulling, you'll be saying, this thing is coming. By the time you look at it, you realize that a big hole has been formed. If you are not system-minded, that's how it's going to be like. So the PMBOK8 edition is telling you that you are a part of a whole. Okay. Clearer thread between PMI standards, practice guides, and real-world delivery. This is also one of my challenges when I'm talking to people. Hey, Jimmy, this thing that you are saying in my organization, we don't do it, but we are getting results. Often I laugh in my head now that I'm aware of my temperament. I laugh in my head and then I calmly say that, okay, it works within the organization, but I can tell you that maybe you would have been achieving better results than you are achieving, because this is clearly contrary to PMI standards. And PMI standards are based on research, over the years, and they're actually working. And one of the challenges we also have, we are so used to doing things the wrong way that is giving us some seemingly results, and we don't want to get out of our comfort zone to start doing the right thing. And one, we need to change. Two, if you do not change and you go to write your exam that way, you will still be saying in my organization, oh, for contracts, we don't do that. We do this and we still achieve results, and it becomes a problem for you. Okay, so the PMBOK8ed edition would help you to understand the PMI standards, practice guides, and real-world delivery. Organizations do not just want certified PMs anymore. People say that, oh, we have project managers that have PMP certification, but they can't manage projects, and it's embarrassing. So organizations are not just looking for you, or they will not employ you, or they will not have faith in you just because you have PMP. Me too, I don't have faith in people just because they have PMP, because I've been privileged to work with people that are not PMP certified, but because they are members of PMI, they have access to all the guides they've downloaded, they read. The only thing is they've not written exam. They are better project managers than the so-called PMPs. So what organizations are looking for are strategic impact makers. Impact makers, that you don't just go to meeting and just say, you're just waiting for them to tell you what to do. You must contribute to the process, So you must be making impact strategically, because that is what cuts your organization, gives your organization the cutting edge. And so if you can't contribute to that, excuse me, what are you doing? So PMBOK8 is not a revolution. It is a refinement. Project management is not just executing tasks anymore. It's not just, what do you say? Okay, we do this, we do that, and that's it. That's no longer what project management is. Those who adapt early will lead the profession. So don't be caught like you are there, we've been here for the past 7 years, but this person came. I don't believe in the longer you are, that's what gives you access to leadership position. It is a value that you bring on board. So PMBOK is another step in the evolution of the project manager into a strategic value catalyst. So the similarities between the 7th edition and the 8th edition is, it is still principle driven at the core. You have the 12 principles. Value delivery mindset remains the heartbeat. That's why you're managing project, to deliver value. Then tailoring keeps getting louder. Your ability to know which part of the project you should tailor, because one size fits all was never real. You can't manage 2 projects the same way, just like you cannot, as a parent 2 children the same way. So tailoring is key. 4, focus on outcomes over just deliverables. The value the deliverables, which are the outputs, would bring are the outcomes. And then 5, systems thinking, complexity awareness, stakeholder engagement still front row. Don't say at the beginning, you've given us the scope, go and sit down, when we finish, we will deliver. Hey, no, you have to carry your stakeholder along. Okay, and the difference is, 1, sharper clarity for practitioners. So if you're a practitioner, the 7th felt philosophical to many. PMBOK8th edition brings it back toward actionable guidance without undoing the principles shift. 2, explicit connection between value delivery and project execution. PMBOK7 guide was heavy on the why and what, but the 8th edition puts more flesh on the how to get the value delivered. 3, expanded guidance on integrating waterfall, agile, and hybrid. It has come to stay. Don't say, oh no. And as for me, I prefer predictive. I was working with some team of people and I said, this project, we are going to approach it adaptively. Hey, we never left. We could not do it, because when you take a step forward, they say, hey, what if, no, we have to plan, no, we have to have a project management plan, a robot. They can't think of just plan and deliver the project iteratively. So it is PMI finally saying, okay, let's stop pretending these words aren't blending daily, So we need this to guide us on how to integrate waterfall, which is predictive, or the traditional project management approach to agile and hybrid. And then 4, the 8 places emphasis, or the difference is that the more emphasis on performance domains as living areas of focus, not just ideas that, okay, the performance domain, stakeholders, uncertainty, it can happen. No, it will happen. And so we must pay attention to it. The domains are still there, but with tighter positioning and examples in the 8th edition. And then 5, clearer tie into business strategy and enterprise context. If you are managing a project and you cannot tell how it fits into your organization's strategy, there's something is wrong. So pause and find out what it is. So project management is not a tactical executor anymore. It's a strategic driver. And the 8th edition spells that out plainly. Then terminology alignment with current practice. Buzzwords are trimmed in the PMBOK8ed edition, language matured, and there are cleaner narratives. So the PMBOK 7th edition is philosophical, principle-centric, and conceptual, while the 8th edition is principle-centric, but more grounded, practical, and integrated with evolving delivery approaches. So if you are PMP certified, congratulations. These 4 points may be helpful. Your leadership currency just went up. Like I said, if all you knew is predictive, go and do the AHPP certification that will bridge you with the current PMP. So I tell people, if your PMP was before 2nd January 2021, it's not the same. Don't deceive yourself. It's not the same. This one is more robust. Okay. So your leadership currency just went up. Expect more emphasis on human-centered delivery and team performance. And also, for OK Value, we have 96% of people who pass their PMP at the first sitting. My observation with most of the people who fail the 4% is on people. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe because we are Africans, the way we look at leadership, if I talk, don't talk. You don't. My idea superimposes yours. No, PMI is looking. So they failed the team, the people aspect of PMP. PMI expects you as a project manager that you are a steward. That's the first principle. And then 2, you are a servant leader. 3, you are emotionally intelligent. Usually when we talk about emotional intelligence, people think it's about others, but emotional intelligence starts with you. Probably you laughed when I spoke about myself, but you're supposed to also look at yourself and assess where you are emotionally and then manage it. So you assess yourself, manage yourself emotionally before you can assess and manage others. You cannot jump yours. And then just like leadership starts with you leading self before you can lead others, and then before you can lead the organization. You can't jump in it. Okay. So you are working with people, no matter how fantastic your processes are, they will be delivered by humans, your team members. So how you handle them is very, very important. So that is 1. Then 2, you must speak value and strategy, not just scope schedule, because what is the scope of the project? Or how long do we have to deliver it? How much? No. You must understand that what you are doing is strategic, okay? And speak that, the strategy and value into what you are doing, because that will also guide your perspective, how you say things. And then 3, refresh your toolkit. Don't be saying something. There's somebody say something and say, what is that? We have that now in project management. Since when? I remember in 2007 when please refresh your toolkit. Digital competence, data, AI literacy, complexity models, change leadership. PMI has about 4 free AI courses for members. I don't know how many of you have done it. I shared it a few times. If you don't know how to get to these AI courses, let me know. I will direct you to them. These are free things. They are member benefit. That's why you are paying $144, $134 if you're a member of PMI Ghana. And for the other chapters that may be on the call. Okay. Then update your organization's project management language. Move beyond templates to tailored governance and value pathways. Sometimes I go to some organizations and even what they are photocopying is faded. And I will sit and I'll be wondering, so can't someone just retype it? At least if you say you don't want to change the template, can't you even type it? But we need to move just from templates to tailored governance and pathway and value pathway. So PMP holders need to lead and think like business partners, not administrators. In 2018, I made a presentation to members of PMI Ghana, and I spoke about a distinguished project manager. And I said a distinguished project manager is actually a project leader. There's a difference between project leader and project manager. A project manager, you are just working with some set of prescribed steps to deliver your project. But a leader, in addition to the prescribed steps, is also thinking strategically. Unfortunately, I can't take more than 100 people on the call. So we will share the recording on YouTube when we are done. I'm sorry. So if you want to be a distinguished project manager, that translates into project leader. You have to be strategic, focused, value focused. You are adding value. If you are removed from a team and your presence is not felt, hello, think again. Your presence has to be felt. Your presence can be felt when you are giving value, when you are adding to the value or to the reason the organization is achieving their values. Now, to my colleagues that are probably preparing for PMP, expect exam scenarios to emphasize business value focus, tailoring, problem solving, and decision-making frameworks. I always tell my students, you are a project manager, you are solving problem. So don't start thinking of escalation. Something like this will escalate unless it specifically states that it is beyond your threshold. That's when the first thing you do is to escalate. But if it is not, you first need to assess, diagnose it, evaluate what the problem is, and then you can profess solution. But some of us, we see the problem, then we start solving without doing proper investigation. So the exam will focus on problem solving and decision-making frameworks. It will also focus on leadership and stakeholder empathy. Stakeholder empathy. Don't say, but I told you before, go and check it. I cannot be wasting my time. Hey, the project is not about you, it's about stakeholders. So it will be checking that too. And hybrid delivery and agile mindset behavior. When you see, when you have agile mindset, you are poised for change to occur, and you accept it and work towards delivering on it. Also expect complex environments and uncertainty navigation. This is where risk comes in, identification, And then the exam will not be testing tools and techniques. So the tools and techniques and input, and it will not. To be looking at your thinking, judgment, adaptability, stakeholders in engagement and all that. I tell my students, when you are writing PMP or you are preparing for PMP, think of yourself as the project manager. Even if your title in your organization is not project manager, you have to think like a project manager. You solve problems, you work with people, you manage processes, you have business acumen. That's how you should be thinking. That's how you should approach the questions you are answering. That's how you should approach your team members. Active listening, influencing, observation, communication, emotional intelligence. You are thinking like that. And the more you think like that, it influences how you approach problem. And that you're a problem solver. You are there. You are the one leading the team. If it is adaptive, you are the scrum master. What is your job? Is to create a conducive environment that enhances adaptive environment. You are removing impediments. You are facilitating ceremonies, the stand-up meeting, the review meetings, the retrospective. You are removing impediments from their ways. That's what you are doing as the scrum master. If you are to play the role of the product owner, you are the voice of the customer and you are responsible for value creation. That thing that you are doing with the product backlog, listing user story values or features in the product backlog, prioritizing it with the customer is value creation, because what you have in the product backlog is a reflection of what the project will deliver. So you are the voice of the customer. You are responsible for value creation. So how you process who you are here influences how you respond to the question. So PMI will gradually weave the 8th edition themes into exam items, not an overnight switch, but a directional push. So I decided to come up with these two scenarios. This scenario one is focused on delivery model selection, how to decide that, okay, this is how we are going to deliver this project. Your project management team wants adaptive approach. The people that will do the work, they say, for this project, we want to approach it adaptively. But your sponsor prefers waterfall for the same project. What will you do? If now where we are, PMBOK 7th edition, we tailor to context. That's okay. You have to talk. If it is the sponsor that is saying predictive, Charlie is a sponsor, waterfall. So you work with your team members to understand that this is what the sponsor wants. And then you also work with you want to find out why your team members are saying it's adaptive. You want to understand why the sponsor is saying it, and then you form a consensus. For a approach, you tailor again, but you justify based on business value, risk, speed, and capability. So it's not just tailoring to context. You tailor and you are using the understanding of what you know about the business value or what it will bring to the business. The risk is likely going to expose the project to speed, whether it will slow the delivery down, and do you have the capability to deliver any of the two approaches that they are saying. And the second scenario is value tracking. Your project is on schedule, but its value impact is unclear, and it does happen. For 7th approach, you focus on the outcome, but for the 8th approach, you are thinking of continuously validating value and governance alignment. So, okay, we are on course, but the value is not clear. What does this translate to in the existence of the organization and in the value that, or the strategy, or sorry, in our strategic existence? How do we align this? That's what you are thinking. So you're not just thinking about what you are going to deliver, but how it fits into it. And now for all, whether you're already certified or you are preparing for the exam, you need to revisit tailoring frameworks. You need to emphasize stakeholder value measurements. Even the perception of value, you need to be able to meet that. And for you to know what your stakeholders perceive as value, you need to have some interactions with them and then blend delivery models intentionally. Because as for me, I'm very good with predictive adaptive. I don't even understand it. You need to learn it and know when to blend, and then use principles with domains and context thinking. Avoid defaulting to methodology religion. As for me, this is what I know, and that has been working for me. I've been using it for years. Cannot change my mind. You know how long I've been in project management? When I started project management, you were in JHS. Hello, it does not really matter. Project manager of management is an orchestrator of value. It is more than executor of task. If you are an executor of task, you are just doing one, okay, we've done it. Two, we have done it. No, but you are pushing and delivering value that goes beyond just you executing task. So the PMBOK 8th edition is a revolution. It's not disruption. It is about maturity over metrics. And this is just a snapshot. If you did not remember anything that I've said today, remember that PMBOK is still, the PMBOK 8th edition will still have this core principles, tailoring, domains, system thinking. And two, it will strengthen your knowledge and understanding of hybrid delivery, value realization, and clarity. And then three, it is not changing PMP exam overnight. But I'm using this cautiously. At least we have the content outline of the PMBOK 8th edition released. I have not seen anywhere as an ATP that says so day is when the exam would change. But if we go by what happened in 2021, it came, I think the PMBOK came few weeks, and then 2nd January 2021, and then 2nd January 2021, the exam changed. And some people had done their training in November, December, October, the previous year, that's in 2020. In fact, we had mass failure in January, February, because people were still going with the old approach of training, So I don't know exactly when the exam would change, all right? Your advantage is now you have an idea what the content outline of the 8th edition would be, how it would align with what we already know. Yes. And if you have started the process, the 35-hour training, please, you can write the exam this year. All you need is a good simulator. If you've done your training maybe a year or 2 years ago, then you can attend my exam prep, because the exam prep will still go over the 6 lessons, come up with practice questions, and then assign the simulator to you. And the simulator, you have over 1,000 questions. 400 questions would come in quizzes, 10 questions, and they are time boxed, 10 questions, 12 minutes, 10 questions, 12 minutes. You submit, you receive the justification, and then you can reattempt before you go to the exam. The exams are 5. The first is 50 questions, time box. The second is 100 questions, time box. The third, fourth, fifth are 180 questions, 230 minutes each, and then you can. And I'm always available. In fact, I take pleasure in supporting people becoming PMP certified. So the mantra you can live with when it comes to PMBOK 8th edition is that it will give you the context, clarity, focuses on value, and then tailoring for you to achieve results. So I decided to throw in 2 quick questions. And what I do for those who attend my Monday sessions is that you will read the questions and you drop your answers in the chat box before I reveal what the answer is. So here's the question. A sponsor insists on waterfall for a digital transformation project, but the team has agile capability. What is the best project management approach? Let me take the question again. A sponsor insists on waterfall for a digital transformation project, but the team has agile capability. What's the best project management approach? A, enforce agile due to modern relevance. B, accept waterfall to HANA sponsor authority. C, escalate to governance board. D, tailor based on value, risk, capability, and recommend hybrid. So I'll be checking here for your answers. So let me count to 10, then. So let me repeat. D. Okay, we've spent more time. Usually I ask people to tell me why they chose the options they did. So, but let me just show you. So let me clap for those who said D. And the reason PMBOK8 reinforces value-based tailoring and integrated delivery thinking. The second question, a project is delivering outputs, but stakeholders challenge value impact. What should a project manager do? A, complete outputs and handover. B, initiate value performance assessment and engage governance. C, request change order. D, document consent for lessons learned. Again, I'm going to count to 10. Let me peep. Okay, so is it that the questions are simple or I'm a good teacher? Yes, the answer is B. continuous value assessment is emphasized in PMBOK 8th edition. Now we come to the end of today's session. If you are interested in PDUs, please scan this. It's my WhatsApp, and then you send me your first name, your last name, and your PMI ID. And you can join my WhatsApp channel where most of what I post later, they are first posted in the channel before they go out. And it will also be your way of supporting what I do. I'm on LinkedIn as Jumoke Lafenwa, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as Jumoke Lafenwa. Please do give me a follow or link up with me on LinkedIn. And Okim Valley Limited is also on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as Okim Valley Limited. Do give us a follow, and I mean, help us grow. And I'm also on TikTok. I try to be funny as Jumoke Lafenwa, Coach Project Management. Yes, this is where you ask questions. So let's have it. You can drop it in the chat box. And thank you very much. You can drop it if you have a question. You can unmute your mic. It will be good for you to unmute your mic so that means I hear your voice, so that I'm not the only one talking. So you can raise your hand and unmute your mics, or you drop. Yes, any question? Any questions, suggestions, clarifications? And I must say thank you for joining today's live session. I'm grateful for joining. Okay, I'm told no questions. I would be please the details for the PDU again. Okay, so you can scan. Okay, so let me just put my number here. Send me a WhatsApp on this number with your first name, last name, and PMI ID. Please send them today. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you don't have any question for me. So we can, okay, Linda, go on.
Right. Thank you, Jumoke. Very insightful. I think when you got to the slide where you talked about the new things, that's in the new edition. I think item or bullet 4, you said it focuses on outcomes and not deliverables. I don't know if you can go back to that.
Sorry.
So I put a question in the chat. So my question was, I would have thought that impact would be the focus and not outcome.
So let me try and go back to the slide. I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay. Unless I didn't get the delivery well. But
do you remember where it was?
Just go back a bit. Almost there. Yes. No. Yes. The 4th one.
Focus on outcomes over just deliverables.
Yeah. So I was thinking, shouldn't it have been impact? Should the focus not be on impact and not outcome? That was my question. I don't know if you can elaborate it for my understanding.
Okay, to you, what are outcomes?
I know. Okay, so from my little understanding, in the past, we've just been interested in delivering what we are asked to do. But in the recent educations that have been coming up, it's more like project managers are supposed to focus on the impacts that the project that they are carrying out is having on the organization. That's my takeout. So that's why I'm asking this question.
Okay. I've realized that we use output and outcomes interchangeably, but they are not the same. Output is the same as deliverables. Outcomes transcends output. Yes, outcomes transcend output. Outcomes would be the value that you get from the output. And so the value will be the impact.
Great. I understand now. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, any other question? Any other question? All right. Hey, Christopher, I gave my number. I said, or scan this, and then send me your first name, last name, PMID for your PDU. Melvin, to write the PMP this year, should we focus on only the 7th or the 6th or the 7th only? If you did your training with ATP, you would have the slides from PMR that would be a combination of materials from both the 6th, the 7th, and 9 other books. Now, if you are studying and there are aspects that you don't understand, you can refer to your glossary or other materials. But I don't recommend that you should pick the 6th edition and read, because the 6th edition is basically on predictive. But you have the 7th edition that is looking at, when you pick cost, it's looking at cost from predictive angle, from adaptive angle, and hybrid. If you pick stakeholders, it's looking at stakeholder from adaptive angle, predictive angle, and hybrid. But the 6th edition focuses only on predictive. So it can be misleading. But when you understand this, and maybe you are looking at stakeholder from predictive aspects, and you think you don't understand it enough, then you can refer to 6th edition. So you need to be able to draw the line. I hope, Melvin, I answered your question. The PMBOK 8th edition will be released on 13th January 2026. If you want the slides, please, you would have to send me your email address as a WhatsApp. And so you scan this and send me your email address and say you want the slide, and I will send it to you. Just as I said that if you are going through the slides from PMI, and you are reading and you get to an adaptive terms or some understanding that is not clear, and you need a reference, you can refer to the Agile Practice Guide. But what I have noticed is that people will train people on the 6th edition predictive, and then they will train them on adaptive through the Agile, and they say you have it. But it's not the same. It's not the same. You have your training slide, and maybe it says product backlog. What is product backlog? If you don't have enough information from the PMBOK 7th edition, then you can refer to the Agile Practice Guide. But you don't pick the Agile Practice Guide and then you are reading. Okay, now let me put that in context. I never read the PMBOK 4th edition that I used for my exam from cover to cover. But I know people who said they read it 3 times, 7 times, 15 times. I never. I used a simulator to help me cover the PMBOK because I focused on the training slides, and I made myself available in class so that I could ask questions on gray areas. That has always been my style for learning. I stay in class to hear the teacher or instructor teach. Then I ask questions. I make my own notes on the training slides. And then if I have question, I would ask and then use simulator to cover. So yes, don't pick the Agile and say you are reading. Don't pick the 7th and say you are reading from cover to cover, 6th edition from cover to cover, Agile guide from cover. No. This is based on experience. Yes, any other question? Let me see if there's any hand raised. Otherwise, I think, Linda, you've asked your question, right? So I'm assuming this is old hand. Okay. Is there any other question? Okay. So I think it is safe to say we have come to the end of today's session. We do this every Monday, 6:30 to 7:30 often. I mean, most of the time. And I will be sharing what we'll be talking on in the course of the week. Okay. All right. Do have a wonderful evening and see you when next we meet. God bless you. Bye.
Sure. And thanks, Jimmy and everyone.